How did the band form, or what is the origin story? So, me and Jackson, one of our guitarists, we went to school together, and our drummer David, had the pleasure of meeting him in college, and then we've just kind of played in bands of like various lineups and stuff for a long time, but I just kind of feel like we never really just knuckled down on how do we just really concentrate on getting these songs to sound fucking amazing. Really like just concentrate on the structure and all this kind of stuff. And I'd always kind of demoed stuff, but over lockdown, it was just a really good opportunity to have 2 years to be obviously miserable and agoraphobic and everything, but also just to really concentrate on every fucking second of this song and just really like hone in on all of it. And Matt Bigland from Dinosaur Pileup was doing Patreon at the time as well, which just kind of like gave tips on songwriting, so that was really helpful. So when we came out of lockdown, we just had like these songs that we were really fucking happy with, and we went into the studio, and me and Jackson realised that being guitarist doesn't mean that we can play bass. It's a classic obnoxious guitarist thing. You assume that because there's you used to more strings, less will be easy, and it was absolutely not, and we were not cut out for it. So my mate John, who I'd met through friends of friends and parties and stuff, he'd be at my mates when we were all having drinks, he'd always bust in with his bass guitar, and so obviously caught my interest. And then I think he was junior engineer or producer or something, Andy, who works at the studio that we were recording at, and he also is a very prolific and sought after session musician in Portsmouth. He likes the music so much he asked to join, and I think I never really wanted to play a huge amount of guitar live because I'm doing a lot of quite intense singing, and I think we like a lot of layers in our recordings, so there's like a lot of parts to go around, so we really wanted a lead guitarist. So then we had Andy, and then we were formed. And then 2 years later, after mixing on the music, we started releasing stuff and gigging this current iteration. What are your musical backgrounds and influences? So I remember, I think my first love of music was probably stuff like Five and Steps and, you know, the kind of like 90s pop music. But I really fucking loved Robbie Williams. I still do. I still love pop music. It's a big part of my musicality. But then as I got older, I got introduced to kind of heavier stuff. Remember my sister, my older sister Rachel, she kind of came into me as a child and gave me a skater rock album, like a compilation and a skateboard, and she was like, research this. This is your homework now. Put away that football. This is what you do now. And I think that just showed me how much like personality could be, and like specificity could be in music as opposed to the kind of broader stuff that was on the radio. And then my dad showed me Black Sabbath live video. I think it was like the 90s reunion show, and just absolutely just like felt like I'd been transported to another world, just with like the darkness and like just how specific and abstract it was. And then I think ultimately it was bands like Foo Fighters and Queens of the Stone Age that kind of showed me how all of these things kind of be tied together. So you've got like with Foo Fighters and Queens, you've got like the vibes, the choruses, the catchiness. Like a lot of Queens is quite danceable, but then it's got that heaviness and darkness and atmosphere of like Black Sabbath and stuff. And so I think when I started to get into bands like that, I was like, oh fucking shit, this is just everything that I want. And I kind of like grew a third ear, and then just have been compelled to write that music ever since. How did you come up with a band name? Well, in 2022 or 23 or whenever it was, quite a lot of band names have been taken. It's just such a pain in the ass. So it was always really fucking hard to come up with an original band name, which I think is probably why there are bands now called Wet Leg and things like that. But there is an amazing UK like grunge alternative rock band called D-Mob Happy, who we actually reference in one of our singles by name. And their first album, I was just absolutely addicted and obsessed with. And they had a song called Summoner. And it was essentially just looking at things I could reference. Summoner, Summoners, oh brilliant, and that hadn't been taken. So yeah, that's how we came up with that. Well, it's all been a challenge, really. I mean, but challenges are fun. That's the challenge is what makes it satisfying when you do it. The writing was hard, the demoing was hard, the recording and production process was really hard and took about 2 years, as I mentioned before. Releasing 6 singles and an EP in 6 months has been very hard because we've done it all ourselves. Especially in terms of like making the graphic design and the videos and the artworks and writing the press releases and stuff. It's incredibly tight deadlines, and we probably didn't do enough prep before the first single. It's kind of been, once one thing comes out, it's like you've got to get right back into it. So it's been a hard 6 months, but also it's been amazing. It's been baptism by fire. We've learned so much about the whole process just by doing it in such a condensed amount of time. So I mean, ultimately, it's just been an amazing way to spend our time. It's been brilliant, but it's been challenging. I would hope it could be described as interesting alternative rock. I would hope that it's just not boring. With a lot of our songs, they go off into loads of different directions, and a lot of the songs kind of sound like different bands. I kind of think we're not like very consistent in one style. I would hope that is a good thing. I can see why it would be confusing to people, but yeah, I would hope that we're interesting on a broad scale. What is your songwriting process like? So it's pretty much, in whatever way, like one of us, or at least like from my perspective, I will come up with. Sometimes I'll just hear a song and I'll be like, oh, that isn't the way I would have taken that, and then I'll think, oh, actually this is how I would have done it, and then we'll end up just coming up with a new song, or I'll just come up with a riff, or I'll be writing a song and I'll come up with the intro, verse, pre-chorus, and then I'll be trying to crack the fucking chorus, and I'll write about 5 choruses until I come up with the right one, and then you've got material then for another song. Like we've got songs, one song off our EP that's just come out, Let You Go. That was initially the chorus of a completely different song, which is going to be on our next EP. But we popped the chorus out of that and made it into a whole new song. So it's just jigsaw pieces coming together. Sometimes it can take years, sometimes it can be super fucking quick. Again, it's always bloody challenging, but that's like chiseling stone into a fine statue. It's lovely when it's done, and then it lasts forever. So I used to be quite shy about being really honest in my lyrics, especially when I was a lot younger. Was just a bit more self-conscious and all the rest of it. But I think now all I want to hear about are people's raw experiences. Like, that's what's real. That's how you learn about people. And I really can't stand. I mean, I think it's fun in a kind of. It's fun when it's like a pop song. It's just quite fun, and it's not too much depth to the lyrics. I think it definitely has its place. But I think especially when it comes to like darker, like a more aggressive, like alternative rock, like I just really can't stand vague topics and like generic kind of discussions about like relationships and stuff that could essentially be applied to anyone or anything. I think, like, to me, this is all art, and our art should teach people about us. So I think my lyrics are all quite dark and specific, and quite depressive. But whenever I'm going through a very intense time, whether it's positive or negative, it's mostly negative because that's when you really feel the bite of the moment and emotion. I'll pop up my little notes app and just really force myself to try and articulate it as much as possible. But then to me, like, it becomes so much better to listen back to that song and be like, wow, that is like a time capsule to, you know, that day my leg fell off. So it's yeah, a lot more satisfying in that way. I would probably say our last single from our EP, No Control, which is Noir, just because it just kind of continuously develops as the song goes on. I remember when I was chatting to old Matty Bigland's Dinosaur Pileup, in an older iteration, he was like, oh, you know, the second verse is quite linear, like, compared to the first verse. It doesn't really change too much, and I just kind of took that as a personal challenge to be like, right, every fucking section of this song is gonna be different from the last. But I think it's all still coherent, which is again a really hard balance to kind of mix. You know, you don't want it to be like grunge Bohemian Rhapsody, although that does sound like a fun challenge now. But, you know, you still kind of want it to fit into a kind of like coherent journey, but I think it remains interesting and kind of fulfills the goal of kind of being concise but interesting. Are there any artists you'd love to collaborate with? Absolutely loads. We've got some people that we're chatting to who are coming into the studio with us for our next EP, which we're very excited about. But in terms of kind of other bands or people that I'm a fan of, I think Soft Cult, just a fucking amazing, like, purveyors of like dark and light. They've got this real moody kind of dark kind of, in terms of the band kind of sound, but then their singer just has the most beautiful voice, and just their harmonies are just absolutely gorgeous. I would love to have, you know, people like them doing harmonies. Means that I won't have to force a falsetto as much when I'm in the studio. Or like Dead Pony, who do really fun alt rock, and their producer Blair is an amazing producer. Then bands like Wolf Alice, Tiger Cub, you know, obviously could never manage that. Queens of the Stone Age could never manage that, but that would be great. Would say Dave Grohl to do some drums, but we've got our own Dave Monster on drums, so, you know, we've never been left wanting with that. Tony Iommi from Sabbath doing a guitar solo, that would be pretty fucking cool. That would be pretty good. What is your favourite part about gigging? I think it's great because after all of the writing and rehearsing and everything, you know, it's kind of like finally where you get to do the thing. We all love the other stuff as much as playing, like, you know, the writing and, you know, beavering away at the studio, like just unpackaging and realising the song and getting it like exactly how, you know, it sounds in your head or better. It's just kind of like, you know, it's the moment you get to reap what you sow, you know, drink down all the preparation and just have a good time and just do it. But I think the other thing is it's just such a great way of meeting like-minded people. Like all the other bands playing, the sound tech, the venue manager, just like they're all there because they love live music and they love rock music, and it's just easy to get on with those kind of people because you all share such a common interest. It's just quite often the case that you're going to be quite similar, and so yeah, you just kind of really feel like you're amongst your people. It's just amazing. So me and our drummer Dave, in a different band, I think when we were about, I want to say about 18 or something, because we were in college. And we were in a band, and it was a very pop rock band, but, you know, we were having a good time. I think we just played a load of great shows, and we had the arrogance and naivety of youth where we thought, you know, we could probably just start getting really smashed at gigs. And I think that we started like our 2-beer rule, and then it got all the way up to like 8 and whatever, 10, and we just played this show on this like really good support slot, and I think I broke a string in my first strum, and I didn't have a spare guitar. My lead guitarist was rightfully fucking furious. I think Dave just forgot what song he was playing a lot of times, and that was a long time ago now, and I had the poster for that gig up on my wall for many years of just like, don't do that again. Do not do that, because it's not worth it. So for the years since, we have both been very strict with ourselves, but it's a lot more fun to play well and have a little beer afterwards. How do you prepare for a live show? By practicing lots and not drinking, not drinking much. We've all, had our fun before, but I think now we just, we work so hard to get the song sounding right, and even just with every launch of a single, like we put so much into it that we just want to play as best as we can, and playing live, that's so important to a rock band, to be like a band, that hopefully someone will say to their mate, mate, fucking Summoners, like, they were amazing the other night, and then that's kind of the dream of it. But outside of actual kind of like preparation specifics, I'd say me and Jackson will usually be maybe about an hour before we'll start putting on our guitar and just anxiously pacing around and warming up our hands and like just reminding ourselves of the songs. And Dave will probably be drumming on his legs somewhere, and if we have some privacy, I might sing Mamma Mia to warm up my voice. What is your relationship with your fans like? I am the biggest fan of anyone who is a fan of our band. The first time I got asked for an autograph after one of our shows, I got very emotionally overwhelmed. I did not act cool at all with how thankful I was. I was not acting like a stereotypical quiet rock frontman. I was just in love with the person, and I will always continue to be. I think rock music is my favourite thing in the world. So for anyone who likes my rock music, they are my best mate, and I want to have a beer with them. It's always been my dream to be in a band and have people who like my music anywhere near as much as I like the music of my favourite band. So absolutely fucking of course. I am quite sure we've all kept the day free just in case a spot opens up, so absolutely. And what are your thoughts on this year's lineup? I think it's fucking excellent. If we were to play, we would definitely be in the crowd going mental after we play. Nothing better than being at a festival, especially when there's cool rock bands and heavy bands there. I think it's great. Are there any new projects or releases in the works? So we're going into the studio to record another chunk of songs between August and October this year, giving ourselves like a month or two's break after the EP that we're releasing in the end of June. Knowing us, that'll probably take a little while. We're going a bit grander and bolder with the next stuff, but we're really excited about it. I think it's our best stuff yet. We've been playing it live and people seem to love it. I think the thing that we've learned over this EP is every song that we've been kind of at our weirdest and most specific is the stuff that people have liked the most. Like our weirdest songs are the ones that got played on BBC Introducing, which is not something I anticipated at all. So it's kind of encouraged our strangest impulses. So it's going to be more unique, I think. And then we never really stopped writing, so we'll be looking to record another chunk next year. But I think really how that music will come out will be defined by, I think what we need now is a partner really to help us put this music out. So a manager and a label and stuff. We've been pleased with the reaction and interest of this EP has been absolutely amazing. But I think just for us to have a bit more time, a bit more of a split to just focus on the writing and recording and less on all the other stuff which takes up a lot of headspace. That would be amazing just to get the songs out. Well, that is a long time. We kind of always think we have quite detailed plans always, like for the next year or two. But stuff like 5 years. I mean, really, like to be going that long, things would have to be going quite well. I mean, the goal really would be to be at the level of bands like Tiger Cub and Dinosaur Pile Up, who are kind of the newish breed of bigger UK alt rock bands that we look up to. So it'd be like at least one headline tour, world tour under our belt, 2 albums out. Sounds like a minimum that we should be doing, with both having decent label backing, to have our name be known by rock fans, but like just kind of generally. But it would just all depend on if we deserve it. We should be getting better and more deserving with every step, I think. If we're not, then there's not much point. So if we were going 5 years, we'd definitely be needing to hit some quotas, just for ourselves more than anything. With anything, you should be getting better at it the more you do it. So 5 years would just be a lot of opportunity to prove ourselves and see if what we're doing has value. But ultimately, it would be up to the quality of what we're doing. So it's on us, and just excited to keep going. We've got a lot of ideas. What advice would you give to aspiring musicians? Honestly, like the main one I would have, I mean, maybe not so much musicians, but just being in a band. When I bought a cheap secondhand MacBook and got GarageBand, just everything changed. Demo your songs. Like, it's just a lot easier. Like, rehearsing is expensive, and trying to explain how you want something to sound is really hard. So if you're a songwriter, I just think you need to prove you're good enough for the band you're in by presenting them like quality material, and then have them make it better, because the people you're in a band with should be brilliant as well. But I just think it's just really hard when you're actually in the room and you're trying to work out a song, and then you're trying to talk, and then someone's guitars feed back, and it's like, what's that, mate? Oh, I just meant that one bit, and what chord are you talking about? Oh, I can't quite remember it, but it's like, it's just like, it's so much easier if you're just like, boys, got a demo. Or, people, come to my house and let's just get on a laptop and just get this written bit by bit. And then, we can play it and, feel it out and maybe make changes, but it just speeds things up if you just get a demo. So that would be my biggest bit of advice to aspiring musicians. I think really is just that really you just need to do it because you enjoy it and because you enjoy what you're doing. I mean, chiefly, like, if you're not, I think I've been in bands before where I had compromised kind of the sound, because I thought, this is a bit weird, or this is a bit heavy, or people might not like this. And since I've stopped doing that, people have liked it. When it's almost like the less broad you get, the more appealing it is to a certain amount of people. And I think obviously, you can, if you come from a rich background, or you just find yourself in a scenario with loads of connections, you can be maybe one of those pop stars or whatever that just have the ability to get their stuff out, and then being broad is quite good. So the instinct is obviously there, but I think personally, especially for a small band, it's just be specific. Don't generalize, and ultimately you just need to just do it because you want music that you can enjoy listening to and perform. Like, it's just nice for us just to have stuff that we're proud of. There'll be nothing lost to us at all, if nothing, if any of the 5-year plans that I mentioned before, or 5-year hopes or aspirations don't happen, we will always have these songs that we're proud of. And so I think when you've got nothing to lose in that sense, when there's no room for failure, it just makes the actual journey the destination, in a sense. It just makes it so satisfying. Like, I just love it. Like, I couldn't love it more, because I just love it. I love the people I'm in a band with, and I just wish I'd always done it this way. How has the music industry changed since you started? I guess obviously when I it's hard to remember when I started. I guess there's obviously Spotify and things now, and I guess it's just that it's not a career really, unless you're just the luckiest person in the world, or have grown up rich or something like, or you have support of rich family or something like that. Like, I think that's probably gotten worse and worse and worse, especially as, you know, things like Spotify have come out. On the other hand, I've never had so much music that I enjoy now that Spotify is around. So whilst I don't condone the share, you know, the CEO profits and the rev split with bands is obviously atrocious. I don't know how we'd get our music out as easily, and ultimately, I don't know, in a weird way, it kind of makes the whole activity a bit purer when you're not doing it, when you have no expectations of money, because it's just like, I just do this because I love it. And one thing I love about social media is targeted, sponsored Instagram ads. Just the amount of clearly bands that have just on a tick list been like, target people who like these bands, and that I've just found so many of my new favourite bands just fucking clicking around on Instagram stories. So just it not being a career, or there not being any money in it, but on the other hand, there's just so much more good music, and there's so much more access to it. So it's a weird one. So I do our artwork and make our videos and stuff. So with the songwriting and performing and everything, that pretty much accounts for most of my interests and hobbies and stuff in one lovely project. Other than that, it's mainly just having deep conversations with my family and friends and giving them hugs and kisses and stuff. Just thank you, and I love you, and we love you, and no words could say enough. Thank you.
I'm coming clear.